Good morning, CUBE community, and welcome back to Las Vegas, Nevada. We're here on day 3 of Google Cloud Next. My name is Savannah Peterson, here in the cockpit for the first time in a while with John Furrier. John, good morning. So nice to see you.
Great day 3. Got a lot more action happening. We're going to go right to the edge of the time slot here.
Yes. Yes,
topic
exactly.
Is edge, interconnecting, all these data centers. Really big topic here. Equinix is here.
Really big topic. So excited to welcome my friends from Equinix here. We've got Kevin Egan, who's been on the show multiple times. You're now about to sit here in the cockpit as a host. And Arun Dev, first-time caller, but a long-time listener, hopefully.
Excited to be here, long-time listener.
Yeah, we're really excited to have you guys. We just got off such a fun GTC together. And I am really excited. We were talking about AI-ready data centers there, but we're going to be talking about the fabric and interconnectivity and inference at the edge in this conversation. Arun, I'm going to start with you. I know that you've got a talk later today. Can you give us a little bit of a preview?
Absolutely, Savannah. So I've got a session this morning with Uber. We're going to talk about the challenges with multi-cloud networking. What we find is over 90% of enterprises use more than one cloud. Well, it holds a lot.
That's pretty much everybody.
Pretty much everybody.
Yeah.
While it holds a lot of promises, I think about 60% of them struggle with multi-clouds. And in our talk, we kind of go through challenges that you face, because there's the standards between what a cloud provider like Google provides is going to be different from what Amazon provides. And the complexity falls on enterprises like Uber. So in our talk, we're going to talk about techniques, strategies, and tools to make that journey easier.
How do you make that journey easier?
Well,
give us a little taste of that, because now I'm curious.
Excellent. So maybe a quick introduction to Equinix for folks who are not familiar with us. We are a large global provider of data centers, interconnection, and digital infrastructure. We're in 260 plus locations. We're in 75 metros, and we're in over 30 plus countries.
You're everywhere.
We are everywhere. We're the metro edge. So as a result of that, pair that with the fact that the clouds, the network service providers, and the enterprises all meet at our facilities, we're now able to offer secure, low latency connectivity between these different enterprises and the clouds. And that's one of the big pieces that people don't understand, the scale and the size of what we offer.
And you're best in breed in doing that.
We are. We are. To just put some numbers in context.
Please give us
We have 44 cloud on-ramps to Google.
Holy moly.
That's
a lot of options.
That's a lot. That's more than the next 7 providers combined.
Dust your shoulders off on that one.
So we do have a lot of private on-ramps, and it goes back to our company's DNA. Like, we've curated ecosystems and the neutrality aspect. So it's not just Google, all the other cloud providers are in the facilities as well.
You're cloud friendly.
We are.
The thing too about Google this year, the networking was a big part of it, although they kind of talked about compute, storage, and software, but the networking pieces was significant. What's your take on the edge? Because hybrid has been standardized.
It's a thing.
But as AI comes in, what are you guys seeing changes at the edge? What are you guys seeing that's enabling from the more AI infrastructure, the horsepower? What are some of the customers doing? We're seeing a lot of networking action.
Yeah. If you asked me a year ago, I'd say we're very early in the inferencing journey. It was more training. But what we've seen in the last 3 to 6 months is inferencing at the edge has really picked up. So you're starting to see enterprises now figure out they need to be in these different metro areas, all of that inferencing happening in the edge. And we are one of the best manifestations of the interconnected edge. And so with the global footprint that I described, customers now have this vast set of capabilities that is at their disposal. And Kevin's got some great insights into what we're seeing from an AI perspective. So Kevin, I'll have you kind of like chime in.
Yeah, thanks Arun. So, obviously agentic, small, medium, LMs, they're pushing more and more power to the edge, and it's really driving customers' infrastructure decisions. So as the edge becomes more powerful, what we're seeing are customers, considering that metro edge that Arun talked about, really be kind of a, instead of an AI factory or a center of excellence for large training, now as inferencing and edge inferencing and distributed AI become critical.
That's what makes it real for the rest of us.
Yes.
It's that inference at the edge.
And that all centers around access to data. And so you have to have your multiple data access points, which comes back to the providers, the on-ramps to your cloud data. We can access that client-side data and the edge data and do that higher horsepower as it keeps increasing over and over again.
It's interesting, Google's pumping up the whole interoperability of cloud, and they've been very open about multi-cloud. So as a cloud provider, you guys have on-ramps, you mentioned that. You're seeing a lot of this AI factory momentum about on-premise activity. Big banks in New York or wherever, they want the IP and these AI factories to be co-located in their metro and on-prem, which defaults probably to you guys. Talk about that dynamic, because now the factories need interconnects, they need to have the AI native with the software, whether it's robotics at manufacturing or a big bank, they're going to need to have generative AI.
One thing that's not going to change is the need for networking, fast, high-speed networking, because the latency matters in a lot of these cases. So as you described, as enterprises get more savvy around where they're going to run certain workloads, whether it's co-location or in the clouds, the thing that hasn't changed is that fast interconnects that they need. Now over the last 25 years, we provided the interconnect starting with physical interconnection in our locations. We also have our virtual Equinix fabric for the last 10 plus years, so now we can do that fast interconnection between all these different locations. And say you decide you want to connect not just to the clouds, but you have the SaaS providers that may be in different locations, we can make that happen as well.
And this is a big deal also when it comes to compliance and sovereignty and all the unsexy parts of AI too, correct?
Yeah. Absolutely. The data.
AI privacy for us, it's critical, and it kind of centers around, even if it's an AI factory, it centers around privacy, data locality, data residency, sovereignty, sovereign AI, and then it also, as it extends out to that low latency, high speed fabric, it also centers around that privacy and private access to your data. So that's absolutely a key tenet for every customer across the maturity life cycle, right? Whether it's edge or distributed AI and or private AI that's sort of kind of running that model training.
At GTC too, that came up as well. I have to ask, what are you guys seeing coming out of Google Next, knowing that we just came out of GTC, AI factories are hot, you guys are poised for that. What's the demand look like? What's the use cases that you see popping out now that's kind of front and center, and kind of where does it go? What dots connect?
I would share two trends. One is inferencing is getting a lot more mature. And if you look at where we were, as I said a few months ago, we weren't really sure, but inferencing is getting mature. You need that interconnected edge. And then the other piece Google talks about as well is their Cloud WAN announcement. The network is becoming more and more important as we start to figure out these different models that Kevin talked about. So it comes back to those, like the inferencing at the edge and then the networking connectivity here.
And you mentioned AI native before we came on, that's a term Google's kicking around. They're using AI inside their own products. And I asked the VP of engineering, okay, most people are consuming AI right now, and they're probably using the data centers you guys have as whatever they're using in the cloud. But then they got to start thinking about how they use AI in their products, which you're hosting for them with all the complexity of the systems you guys are building. What software embeds do you see on the AI side that customers might be going towards? What do you guys offer there?
Yeah, so the two trends that we're really seeing is that AI factory, that private center of excellence where it's driving infrastructure decisions and it's centered around intellectual property. I want to protect my model. It's centered around the different data privacy requirements, whether it's a regulated industry. Right. And then at the edge, as that horsepower shifts to the edge, agentic, small, medium, domain-specific language models. You have to transfer your language models back and forth. You have to have access to your ecosystem of partners to get GPU on demand, as a service, models as a service, your dev tools, your test and dev tools, and those are all driving traffic and interconnection and fabric. And that's the biggest trends that we're seeing.
So I'm really curious because I've always really admired your ability to provide optionality for your community. And I can imagine there's a bit of a process when you're determining which clouds to support, which on-ramps to build, where to be on the edge. Can you talk me through a little bit what that looks like internally as you're prioritizing what to integrate next into the platform?
So for us, when we look at markets or metros that we want to enter, we want to look at it as, I'll use Malaysia as an example. That's a new market we're entering. A lot of great demand, the economy is starting to really pick up there, and you start to see interest from the cloud providers wanting to go into Malaysia. So when you look at where we are investing, making the investments, it's these markets that are starting to shine. Thailand's another great example, Indonesia. These are markets traditionally that had to go to Singapore or Hong Kong for infrastructure. So we're starting to see like where the economies are developing. So we go into markets like Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, where
this is awesome. So you're watching the total economic trends, generally
exactly.
speaking. Yeah.
Well, and I'll go back to my networking background. We watch where the traffic is, where the traffic goes in and out. And we started to realize a while back, like not all the traffic was going out of Singapore or Hong Kong, it was actually going out of the country in different routes. So you start to see economic activity, you start to see this demand, you start to see the clouds. And one of the things that I share is like, we sit at the table with all the clouds on a quarterly basis, we talk to them, so there's a fair bit of like collaboration between the clouds and us.
Yeah.
So we go into new markets, the clouds are either already there or planning to be there. Because the first thing when we have our facility is, our customers say, well, I want to connect to GCP. Do you have the on-ramp for GCP? So it's, it's a number of different things, Savannah, that we look at, but it's in partnership with the clouds.
That's awesome. Yeah, go ahead, Kevin. I can see you
add,
got can see you got a nugget over there. I see your face.
Well, I was just going to add, it's also the ecosystem of partners as we look, we're also, cloud service providers, network service providers, our IT provider, partner community, alliances, but also AI providers, AI service providers, and providing access to those AI service providers has been really critical in how we partner and those alliances that we build that really want that interconnection back to our customers.
That's a really good point, because I bet, speaking frankly, I bet there's a lot of companies who think they are those AI providers, and I bet you have to sort through the weeds a little bit to figure out who those gems are.
Yeah, I mean, some want to provide managed services and host those at Equinix and really provide that service back to their customer. And then we have customers who want access to those services on demand. And so it's really a multifaceted, alliance that we're working towards.
What's the feedback loop, building on this conversation, because this is fun. Building on this feedback loop makes sense in terms of the providers. What is the interface like with your community when you're thinking about what do we need to build next? I mean, I know you're data-driven, obviously, and looking at the traffic and the networking side of things makes sense in Malaysia, for example. But I'm curious, how frequently are you kind of testing the waters with your customers?
We always testing the water with customers. We're always looking to be where they want to be 12 months from now. So it's even conversations here that we've been having this week with our customers is, the first question they ask is, where are you going to be 12 months? And then, what are my competitors doing?
Right. Oh, I bet. They want the inside scoop.
Especially when it comes to AI.
Oh my gosh, I'm not even surprised by that. Yeah.
When it comes to AI, and the fact that we're a neutral provider means that they know we have a seat at different tables. So they're like, what are my competitors doing, or where should they focus on? So there's a couple of different areas. As Kevin said, like the world of AI, for example, is rapidly exploding.
Right.
So we try to keep up with the trends.
Just
we
kind of see, it's like the whole show right now.
Yeah.
So and then just beyond that as well, what's happening in networking, what's happening in compute, what's happening in workloads, where are the workloads moving to? We talked a little bit about data sovereignty, that's becoming important as well, because they want traffic to stay within.
It's vital. I mean, it's literally legal, it's a part of the code now. Yeah.
And so we start to see a lot of these trends, and the fact that we're a trusted advisor means we get to kind of share a little bit of like what we're seeing plus things we're building. Yeah. Not all of them come to life.
Yeah.
But we start to give them early access, they got to start, try these capabilities, and then based on that feedback and what happens in the market, we bring them to market, we start to bring them forward.
You mentioned those workloads. Where are those workloads going? I would assume they're going to the edge, but that's my personal hunch.
It's both, really.
Yeah.
I kind of going back to what John said from a use case perspective, Adair, our CEO, she's really driving towards a customer-centric story now. Let's build that on use cases rather than Equinix is the hero story and talk about our technology.
You already got that done.
Yeah. Well, but we got to talk about that at GTC. I mean, you brought us all customers pretty much to discuss that, and you can feel that. I think that's important.
So she's really brought that, to the company to say, hey, we're gonna come with our customer use cases to really tell our story. And no longer kind of be in the back, like let's use our customers to tell our story, and that's been a big shift.
As a product leader, a large part of what my team does is really, instead of saying, we're going to sit in the lab and go build some cool stuff, to actually sit with customers and understand where are you struggling with inferencing, what type of requirements are you seeing, where, what do you see, not just right now, but 12 months from now.
Yeah.
So that's back to what Kevin was saying, not products, but really the customer problems and the use cases, and how can we help them on that journey.
And that's why we're so excited Arun is co-presenting with Uber, because it's just telling that story in a more powerful way.
And talk about a million edge devices right there with all those drivers and everything else. I mean, the scale and capacity you have to support that level of a company is really something. You keep mentioning 12 months, so I'm going to wrap this up with one of my favorite questions to ask. When we're here at Google Cloud Next, 12 months from now, what do you hope to be able to say then that you can't yet say today?
You want to go first, Kevin?
I love that. Kevin went straight to Arun on that. He's like,
Kevin's Mr. AI, so he's going to...
Yeah, I would love for us to sit here and have an entire library of AI customer use cases, some you've thought of and some you haven't, and really be able to tell the story around the shift to that distributed AI and the agentic, but also the foundational private AI that we're building, and we talked about at GTC. So that's a broad brush, but I would love to come with the use cases first and customer names, and then things you haven't maybe thought about how they're accessing our partner ecosystem and our fabric. That would be
yes,
we'll
we're
be
here
high five.
We're here for it. We want
roadmap go.
Yeah.
What do you got?
I've got more product innovation that's coming based on the conversations we had 12 months ago or 6 months ago. We've got along the areas of networking, but a lot more of AI infused into it. How easy would it be if you could go ask a agent to say, set up my connectivity to AWS from GCP, and it can do that for you today.
Sweet.
And then how do you build on that? If something goes wrong, what do you need to do? Can you fix it without having to wake me up in the middle of the night? There's some cool things.
Every dev's dream right there. Yeah.
There's some cool things that we're working with, embedding some of the AI capabilities into the network, and then just making it available across, irrespective of where the workload runs. Public cloud, on-prem, whether it's in a sovereign location, all of it, we kind of make that work.
I love that. Well, we look forward to telling those stories. We're going to have to do a series with all those customers and make it magic. I love it too. Arun and Kevin, thank you so much for squeezing us in today. I know it's been a busy week for y'all. This is such a joy to start the day with you too.
Really happy to be here.
John.
Thanks, John.
Great to be on the desk with you. And thank all of you for tuning in, wherever you might be today. We're here in Las Vegas, Nevada at Google Cloud Next, Day 3. My name's Savannah Peterson. You're watching theCUBE, the leading source for enterprise tech news.